I am so delighted to meet my lunch break guest, who a little while ago I spoke to on the phone because he was bringing us up to date with what was happening at Hurricane Ian in Florida. Now, Steve Greer was originally from Sussex, traffic warden, gives it all up to follow his dream of becoming an Elvis impersonator in America. He's just home briefly to visit family and friends, so he said, could you come in and see us? Oh, thank you so much for coming in on your brief visit back.
Absolutely, my pleasure, and thanks for having me in.
And have you got your cup of tea? Because you said that's one thing you're missing about the UK.
I've had a lovely cup of tea, courtesy of BBC Sussex, so thank you for that.
So let's go back then. I mean, I love your story. You're a traffic warden.
Yes.
How, in the first place, when you've got these Elvis-related talents, do you start your life as a traffic warden? Two very different careers.
Actually, they kind of ran concurrently. I started as a traffic warden in 1990, and I kind of began my singing career, if you like, at around the same time. I was just sort of humming, singing through the streets of Midhurst, and people said, "Oh, you're the singing traffic warden," and I was dubbed that nickname for and then local ITV, I think it was Coast to Coast at the time,
right,
picked me up and said, "Oh, we're going to do a feature on you," and it kind of just escalated from there, and it was great fun.
Were you singing Elvis hits as you?
I was.
So
I was.
I suppose you were very much alerting people to your presence. So there must have been some people that escaped parking tickets because they could hear you coming.
Yeah, they could. It depends on the song, of course. But I mean, if it's a gentle love song, then there was no notice. If it was Hound Dog, then they were gone. Sort of thing. But it was great fun, a lot of fun, and.
Did you enjoy being a traffic warden? Because they're not the most popular profession,
no, they're not,
are
they? They're really not. And luckily, I mean, I got invited on The Weakest Link because of that, because it was a special episode called The People We Love to Hate.
Oh, fantastic.
And they said, "Oh, we got a singing traffic warden."
So were you on with Anne Robbins? Was it in her era?
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
How did you get on?
I got into the final, actually, but I lost in the final, and I was so upset because I thought, I'm in here now, and this is going to be my chance. And I got some easy question now wrong, and lost it in the final. But
an experience.
It was a great experience.
All these things raising your profile, so you were very much being noticed almost by accident there.
It was accident. It was very accidental. But I always wanted to. I followed my brother, who's since departed, unfortunately. But he kind of taught me the ropes about singing in bands and things, and I just followed my dream to sing. And I enjoyed singing in bands, as duos, as solos, that sort of thing. Picked up a cheap Elvis suit, and I remember my mum and me made an Elvis suit. Now I think, my goodness me, and it kind of just grew from there. Really, I realised that it was great fun.
It's staggering, though, isn't it? I mean, Elvis died a long time ago now.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
and yet still as popular as ever.
Yeah, and here in the UK, I think it's still got the largest fan club in the world. Over there, there's a ton of them over there. Obviously, I've done a little bit in Vegas, and there's lots over there. And Orlando, where I live, is it's a great place to be in the entertainment business. There's so much corporate work, it's just full of hotels and conference arenas.
Is there quite a lot of extensive competition, though, in the world of Elvis impersonators?
There really is, actually.
Do you see the new up-and-coming ones and think, oh no, he's going to have my business?
I did. I watched one the other day. He's 19, and I thought, my goodness me. And he was doing all the moves, and I thought, that was 20 years ago for me, because the back can't cope with that anymore, But there is lots out there, and I'm pleased. I mean, it's great. The movie is reinvigorated Elvis fans everywhere, and I think it's really good. I like to think that Elvis carries on like Beethoven and Mozart carried on, and I think he'll just go on forever.
Where do you start though? So obviously you built quite a profile up here.
Yeah.
So what was the thought process? Thinking, okay, I'm doing quite well here, but I'm going to completely relocate and head off to Florida.
Yeah. Well, it was another opportunity that presented itself actually at the time to buy a small business with my brother over there, which is still running. As soon as I got there, I realised, I need to get back in that suit, and I can't do this. I need to get back in the suit, and I did. And initially, I carried on my name, which was the English Elvis, and that didn't work over there. For some reason, they just didn't equate the two.
Right.
So I changed it to Orlando Elvis, and I thought that makes sense, and that kind of worked. The phone started to ring, and bookings came in, which was great. And they realised that there was a kind of a quirky thing to it.
So just talk about your first booking. Must have been quite special. The fact that you thought, right, I can make this work. So who booked you first when you went over there?
I would love to say it was some big arena, but it was actually an assisted living nursing home.
Right.
and I'm very grateful for that, because I do lots and lots of work in what they call assisted living. I'm not sure if they call it the same thing here, but it's the elderly homes, and it gives you a lot of pleasure. I have to say, it gives you an awful lot of pleasure. Being in this business, to bring any form of pleasure to anybody is a good feeling, and to sing what I like to do to people who appreciated listening to it was a nice marriage, if you like.
When do you move on then? So I love the fact that you do weddings, and there's something there must be something so interesting about that. Doing the job you do, but also seeing who decides to get Elvis involved in their wedding.
Yeah, right. They do lots of Elvis weddings in Vegas, as I'm sure people are all aware. What I wanted to do was recreate the Vegas feel, but in Florida, because Florida offers so much more than just Vegas. It offers the hotels, it offers the nightclub scenes, but it also offers beaches and just beautiful scenic weddings. So that's what I do a lot of is beach weddings. And they're just beautiful beach weddings. They're just sandy beaches. And when it's not in hurricane season, it's absolutely delightful. So we go there and we set up a wedding arch and a speaker, and we do our Elvis weddings. And in answer to your question, it's mainly second-time rounders, if you like, who are getting married for the second or third time. And they just want Elvis to...
They just want something a bit different and
different.
memorable and fun.
Exactly. So I sing songs as the bride walks down the sandy aisle. And then
what do they generally choose? Is it the same sort of songs over and over, or do they have different ideas of which Elvis hit they'll walk down to?
Yeah, they do. There are 700 plus Elvis songs, and I guess 100 are instantly recognisable. They tend to go for things like "Love Me Tender," "Can't Help Falling in Love" as their walk down the aisle
They're
song.
made for it, aren't they? Really?
Yeah, it's perfect. Or Hawaiian wedding song, that sort of thing, because it's that kind of feel. So I sing all of the well-known hits, and in during the ceremony, I sing sort of like reprise versions of the hits, just to keep it going, keep it moving for a 20-minute ceremony, and close to another, like The Wonder of You or something, as they walk off, and it's just and all the congregation are waving their hands, and it's just great fun. And on the beach, we get people then. You can't ignore an Elvis wedding on the beach, and people will then gather around, and I say to the bride and groom, it's not going to be very personal, because you're going to have people gathering around, and that's what happens. And
it's special to be part of that. I'd imagine wedding season now very much at an end.
Actually, July and August are not wedding season, so funny enough, it comes into wedding season around about now, because the weather is a bit nicer over there, in that it's less humid and less threatening for hurricanes and things. So it's a little bit nicer, a little bit more akin to our summer in what we call our winter. So that's a busy time for me.
So when you go back, have you got some weddings booked?
I have. Yeah, I've got a deal with a little wedding chapel over there, and we do lots there. I also work for the Hard Rock Cafe, which I do their weddings for them as Elvis.
Do you feel the pressure though, because you are involved in what you're doing a lot of these, but for the people involved, that's their special day.
It is,
and you've got to get it absolutely right, and you're singing and everyone's looking at you.
Yes.
Does it always go to plan? Always go right? Has it ever gone wrong?
Only technically, if the Bluetooth doesn't work or something like that. I mean, but I'm confident in what I do, but I always think it's the technology that might go wrong, and sometimes on a beach you lose Wi-Fi or something like that. But there's always a backup, isn't there? You always have to have a backup plan.
Nobody ever, when you're getting your careers advice in a Sussex school, thinks, right, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to be an Elvis impersonator in Orlando.
No.
And it's just, did you, when you were growing up, you clearly sort of had this talent for singing, and you thought, but you could never, do you sometimes look at you, pinch yourself and think, have I ended up in this life?
All the time. Every I think, and I really am blessed, and I really am thankful for what I've been able to do, because I had a school reunion back in the summer with my friends from Selsey, from Manhood School at Selsey, and we all said, how did you become Elvis? What happened there? And I said, I don't know. It just happened to be that way. I think the stars were aligned for me, and it just fell into place. And I've got a very supportive wife back over there and family, and it helps. That really helps to have a great support network.
I'm assuming that your wife has to be an Elvis fan. There isn't. It's not optional, is it? Really?
It's mandatory. Absolutely. She wasn't I have to say she wasn't, but she now has to be, and that's it.
What was your wedding like? Was it a traditional wedding? Elvis not involved?
Never, no, not involved. It was very small. I mean, it wasn't my first wedding, so it was really small actually. But we like to. We get a lot of people from the UK coming over because my website extends to that, and it's nice then to offer the packages. We've still got connections with
So
properties
people
as well.
come over from the UK specifically to get married
They do,
by
yeah.
you, which is that must be lovely.
It's beautiful. It's really nice. It's flattering, because people will change their dates because depending on my availability, which I find really flattering. It's nice because we do offer more than just the ceremony. We offer a full package and photography and DJ services.
So people don't have to worry about anything. You do the lot.
And I think that's what people want, excuse me, sometime, is just to come over and have a small but intimate wedding, which is fun. And we arrange the license, and it's kind of all in one for them.
How did you get the license to do this in the first place? I mean, how did you begin to go? Where did you have to have a sort of license to be able to carry out these weddings?
Yeah, it's what would they call a notary over there? I think we have notaries here, but not many. It's a legal person that can sign off on a wedding, and that's what I do. And I've got that notary license, which enables me to then legally carry out a wedding. I can carry it out actually all over America now, which is great.
Because you can't just roll up, put your Elvis suit on, and start.
No, you can't,
weddings.
you really can't, and you've got to invest it, and that's the thing, because you have to buy. The costumes are expensive. They take 6 weeks to make. They're expensive, but they're bead for bead replicas of classic Elvis suits, and I've got several of them now because I've built up a collection, and people can choose their costume and choose their song, and you have to make sure that it's special for them, because like you said earlier, it's their special day, and you've got to make it right for them.
Have you still got your original Elvis suit?
It's in the loft in Selsey somewhere. Like I said, we made it, and we chuckle about that. My mum and I just still chuckle about it, but it's what gets you off the ground, isn't it? And just to get you out there, and then you realise, I can actually do this a little bit, and I've got to invest some money.
What does your mum think of your career then?
Oh, she loves it. I mean, I would say that, but she's probably cringing now, thinking, "Oh my goodness, I wish he'd stop singing when he's home." Yeah. No, she loves. She's a massive Elvis fan. That's how I got into Elvis.
Is it an occupational hazard that you'll be, I don't know, out having a couple of drinks and people will go, "Oh, go on, give us a couple of Elvis songs"?
I mean, I checked in at Orlando the other day, and because I kind of look like this all the time, because I don't want to be wearing Elvis wigs and stick-on sideburns and things, the lady at the check-in said, "You remind me of Elvis." And I said, "Well, thank you very much. Any free upgrades for Elvis?" And she said, "Absolutely." I thought, great.
Brilliant.
It kind of works, so. Yeah, and in the local supermarkets, they kind of know me there, and as they did around Midhurst, "Hello, Elvis, how you doing?" And that's fine, I'm really good with that, because that's what I wanted to do anyway. So
I'm always impressed with people that just restart life somewhere completely different. Initially, when you're leaving everything behind and you start in a whole new part of the world, were there any difficult? I mean, it's that you obviously love your life, but was it a difficult transition?
Yeah, absolutely. It's I speak confidently about it now, but yes, absolutely. Family-wise, it's difficult. It's difficult to make that decision to up sticks and go somewhere completely, 5,000 miles away, and. Yeah, it is. It's the family thing is the thing. But
there's no popping round and seeing your mum and having a cup of tea, because
exactly.
it's organising a flight, coming back.
It's, and I would come back, and I still work here as well when I come back, which is nice. So yeah, that was the biggest wrench, and I'm lucky that I've got supportive family here and there, which is a godsend for me, really.
So are you expanding any sort of other ideas for the future? So you're busy, you've got a lot on. Are there any other directions that Elvis can go in? Are you constantly thinking, "Oh, I wonder where I could take this next"?
Well, we take Elvis anywhere. I mean, we advertise ourselves as anything Elvis, because there are things like there's a London Eye in Orlando, and I do weddings on there. Dine with Elvis, drive with Elvis, and they just hire Elvis, and they say, "Do you mind coming along to my bachelorette party or hen party?" Yeah, absolutely. Why not? And
so your role really is being involved in life celebrations. There can't be a better job than that.
It's great. I mean, I do get employed strangely for funeral services as well, because people like Elvis and they want me to sing a gospel hymn at a funeral, which is again, flattering. But I think it's just a nice part of life, you know. And if you can find something that you enjoy that pays you a living, it's bliss, isn't it? It's got to be.
Absolutely. And what's your favourite Elvis song? Have you got a favourite in amongst all those hundreds? You must know them all.
I probably do. I like the gospel hymns, because Elvis liked the gospel hymns. I like How Great Thou Art. It's a great gospel hymn. The Wonder of You is special to me because it's my mum's favourite song. So it's a very special song. And it's one that you can use everywhere. It's a very versatile song. Can't Help Falling in Love, Isn't Nothing, Suspicious Minds. They're all great.
It's been such a pleasure to meet you. How do we find your website and find out more about what you do?
I've got a website which is www.orlandoelvis.com or stevegreerweddings.com, both of which would give you lots and lots of information, weddings, videos, reviews, etc. And you can contact me directly from there and come and see us in Florida.
Well, I know where I'm coming if ever I get married again.
Absolutely.
I'll be on that beach.
Please do. It'll be my pleasure.
So good to see you. Thank you, Steve, for coming in.
Thanks, Sarah.